testing fundamentals during the class. Alright. So today is 31st. Alright. So testing is a process, is not a step or is not some tool or something. What is a process? Explain me process. It has guidelines, procedures, steps, conditions, you have to follow that guidelines and procedures. So generally testing is a process too. Okay, testing is, that is the reason I am telling, like when I ask you to test something, you can't just go and test it. There is a process. Agreed? What is the first thing a tester will do? If I ask you to test something, what is the first thing you will do? Writing test cases, not checking. You are not going to check someone else's test cases. You need to write test cases. If they are written already, you will use them. Yeah, Gayatri, speak up. Gayatri, you want to say something? Gayatri, I can't hear you. If you want to answer my questions, you can type there. Unless you want to specifically ask me a question like by stopping class, you should speak. Yeah, Gayatri, tell me.
Yeah. No, definitely I'll ask you a question if I have. Unfortunately, I clicked that one. I want to maximize it.
Okay, no problem. All right. Okay, yeah. So, thank you. So, testing is a process. So, this process contains many steps, guidelines, procedures and everything. So, what is the first thing? See, if you want to do something, if you want to go for vacation on President's Day, let's say you want to go to Las Vegas or LA or anything. What is the first thing you do? Tickets. You plan. The plan. So, generally, any process needs planning. Agreed? Any process needs planning. So, testing also needs test planning. You need to plan for it. Do you plan when you enter testing phase or you plan before entering the testing phase? In SDLC there is requirement, there is design, development and you come into testing. So should you plan for testing when you just enter the testing phase or you should do that before? It's before. Generally you should do it before. You are planning ahead, right? You want to be prepared, you want to be ready. So you generally plan. So how do you plan? For example, if you are going for a vacation or something, how do you plan? You write it in some notes or you just think it, keep it in mind. Otherwise put it in email or something. Similarly, here we need to write test plan documents. Test plan documents. Agree? So generally, what does planning contain? Who will do it? For example, if you are going for a vacation, agreed? Who is going? What is the schedule? What is the budget? What are the resources generally? Right? So generally, plan will contain one thing. What is the scope? What are the things we can see? What are the things we are planning to visit or what are the things we want to do? Agreed? So scope and schedule. Scope has schedule how to do it. Okay, we'll first go to Grand Canyon and then come back to LV, then go to LA and then come to Bay Area. Or you might say that, you might go to LV, then go to, some other way. It's up to your schedule. And then there is resources. What are the resources we have? Should we take a rent? Should we rent a car or rent a SUV or should we use our own? It's up to you. Agreed? So scope, schedule and resources are the three things for any planning. Test planning is also not deviant of any planning process. What is the scope here? What is the scope here in testing? What does scope mean? If you going for a vacation, what is the scope there? What will be the scope in testing? What is the scope in testing? Coverage. No, Malika. How long? Okay, that is in vacation. Come back to testing now. Scope means what you want to do in vacation. What is it about? Agreed? If you are going for vacation, what makes it vacation is scope. Understood? If you are going there and working, is it a vacation? No, right? Simple. So what makes it make you, so what are the things you want to do, so you want to make a vacation? What are the things you need to test? Very good. So what are the things? Scope is always about what we need to test. Where is it written? Test cases. The test cases are the things we need to execute testing. So test cases are the thing. These are the test cases we need to do. These are the use cases we need to do. Of course, we make finally test cases. See, these are the requirements. These are the like functional requirements, non-functional requirements. These are the user stories we need to test. But how can you tell that you can't just measure it by some requirements thing? You have to measure it by these are the test cases I need to test. So you might be asking that, okay, should I write test cases before planning or not? No, I'm not asking you that. You can still do it. But you are telling that I am going to test these things. Means I will make test cases for these things. And those are the test cases I will be testing. Estimation, you estimate. See, finally, why do we do planning? We need an estimate. According to the estimate, you make a schedule and you make the resources. For example, if I give you 5 user stories in Whitebox QA, you'll say that, okay, I need to write 10 to 15 test cases per each user story. So 15 into 5, like let's say, what is that, 15 into 5? 75, okay, 75, and I need to test 75 test cases, and you will give me an estimate that 5 hours per each test case, and then I will expect, okay, so you need 4 weeks, okay, so I don't have 4 weeks, so let me assign another tester also, so that you distribute it and do it in 2 weeks. Understood, right? So if I get the scope, I can make the schedule, and I can make the resources. But still, you need to tell me in number of test cases. Am I clear here? Number of test cases you need to execute. Yes, come in. Yeah. So, scope, schedule and resources. So, scope, schedule and resources are the main, this is also called triple constraint. I don't want to talk about it here. Yeah. So, this is also called triple constraint and stuff. So, generally we make planning. But is a tester going to plan? Who is going to plan? Manager. Generally a manager will do. So for example, let's say is he a manager for QA or is a manager for developer? Whose manager is that? QA manager. So QA manager. So there will be a manager for team. If there is a team, there is a manager. So QA manager. So if it is QA manager who is making the test plan, what are we doing there? We are giving estimates. We are doing the work, but he is making the planning. Agreed? So if manager is not there, what is the other name? If there is someone who is heading a team, what is there called? Lead. Project manager is also there, but it's different. Here, lead. Out of QA, lead. Agree? They write test cases. They don't write test plan. They don't do planning. They don't own planning. Am I the manager? So, for example, if you are writing the plan, your fellow testers should listen to you. So when someone should own all the testing team, they make the plan. Agreed? They need to report to them. If you are the boss, it's okay. If you are not the boss, why would I give my estimates to you? Are you my manager? Why should I tell you? Why don't I write the test plan? So that is the reason. Agreed? So QA manager or QA lead will be there. So let's not go into that. Okay. So it's a QA is a process. The process is finally we are doing verification and validation. Agreed? Verification is nothing but low level testing. Testing what makes a system. Generally when you are testing what makes a system, so we are not testing what is the system about. Is the system made well? That is what we are testing. Am I making sense here? If you are testing about what makes the system, you are testing is it aligned properly, is it done properly, but you don't care how it is, finally whether it is, how it is used from the front end or something. See, validation. Your testing is the system doing what it is supposed to do. You are validating it against the definition of it. So there is a definition and there is a system. And the system. So you are validating the system against the definition. So where is the definition of the system? BRDs, SRS, user stories, use cases, or whatever it is. Design documents also has definition too. Design documents. So you are validating the system against its definition. That is validation. So for example, generally validation, Mallika is saying that so we are only validating the functionality. No, you are not only validating. So is there only functional definition? Is there are only functional requirements? There are non-functional requirements also. You need to validate those requirements also. So it's functional and non-functional. Agreed? So for example, you have to test for performance and other things too. So functional and other things too. For example, I will give you some examples too. Don't worry. Okay. So coming back, you are validating the system against its definition. Okay. So when you are validating how the client uses the system, for example, let's say tomorrow you want to test, like, for example, you went to Regal Cinemas and there is a kiosk there. You can purchase tickets. And you want to test that system. You need a kiosk for that. Without a kiosk, can you validate a kiosk system? Right? So you need a front end. You need the system itself to test that. For example, if I ask you to test this TV, you need a TV. Without TV, you can't do it, agree? But to do white box verification, you need the circuits. How the circuits are done. I don't really need the TV. Agree? So similarly, if you are testing a web application, the web application should be there. For example, if I ask you to test whitebox QA, you need a site URL. Agree? You need a site URL. Give me a URL where I can test it. Without giving you the URL, can you test it? No. You need the front end. So generally the validation occurs using UI. Most see how does client uses our system? Using a front end, using user interface. Am I right? Client uses our system using an interface. So to test the functional requirements, to validate the functional requirements of that system, you need the UI of that system. Agree? So generally 70% of the testing is functional testing. Functional testing. So this is nothing but front end testing. Okay? Or UI testing. UI testing means using UI, what are you testing? You are testing the functionality of the system using the UI. Am I making sense? Is it? It's not really something tough, right? Yeah, it's very simple, right? Just want to make sure. Okay. So 70% of the testing validation means validation testing we are doing. Black box testing we are doing is UI based functional testing. Agree? So for example, let's go and say in Regal Cinemas, you want to test the kiosk system there. You want to go and click the movie, like there are movies displayed. You want to select A to Z or something. You want to scroll down. You want to select a movie. You want to select the show timings, and you want to select the number of people, and you will say purchase. You will swipe your card, and that information will be taken. So this is the thing you are doing, testing the functionality of the system using UI. Okay. There are non-functional requirements too. Non-functional requirements too. But tell me some of the non-functional things you can. Tell me some of the non-functional things you can test about a system. What is that called? Don't tell me in plain language. You need a term for that. Remember, in IT world, if you are not speaking the jargon, means the language which, yeah, you know what you are. Okay. All right. So what is that? Usability. Agreed? Usability. So first thing is called usability. Right? Usability is the first one. What is the usability? How it looks. Agreed? How the buttons are and everything is about usability testing. For this also you need UI. For this also you need UI. Agreed? And for example, you are testing about compatibility. For example, I give you white box QA and I ask you to do compatibility testing. Tell me what is the compatibility testing for whiteboxqa.com. Say it again. Where? I am asking about compatibility. I am not asking about functionality. Different browsers. Very good. Different browsers. So you are telling that. Tell me some different browsers. Tell me some different browsers. Yeah, good. Chrome, Google Chrome, Safari, Firefox. Agree? And similarly, You have to test white box QA on each version of browser. Firefox 3, Firefox 4, Firefox 6, because someone is using Firefox 10, someone is using Firefox 16. And is Firefox only on Windows? It's on Windows XP, it's on Windows 7, it's on Windows 8. So you need to test. It's on Mac, it's on Linux, Firefox. So you need compatibility, means compatibility on the platform supporting the platform, versions of the platform, like that. Agree? So these are the things you need to do. So would manual testing be feasible when you're doing browser testing, compatibility testing? No. Right? Yeah, just wanted to. So is this UI based testing? Okay. Alright, so compatibility testing. Then localization. What is, see, same system, if you go to, for example, yahoo.com, it will show the US news. If you do yahoo.co.in, it will show, India news and everything. If you go to yahoo.co, MX, it will show, from Mexico or something, right? So, by changing something on the setting, the system will change, the display and everything will change. So you need to test that localization too. Is this UI based? Yes. And there is something called reliability. You want to test the reliability. You want to test the reliability of the system. It can be UI or non-UI. Okay. Then there is performance of the system. Performance means load and everything of the system. So this can be UI and non-UI too. And then there is supportability. This is also UI and can be non-UI. Agreed? So if you see here, performance, supportability, you can come on installation, configuration and some other things too. I don't want to go too detail into it right now. Okay. We are not talking about integration. Integration is like a more low level. That is verification. Okay. Yeah. So coming back, so if you see here, 90% of the validation testing is UI based testing. Am I right? 90% of the validation testing is what? UI based testing. Very good. That is fine. So we will be validating against our requirements. What are the requirements? Functional requirements and non-functional requirements. Agreed? Perfect. Okay.
So supportability, if it's supporting other software.
Can you say that again? I didn't get it.
Supportability.
Supportability, is it supporting another software? No. If there is any question on the software, is it supporting by itself? Help documents, FAQs, agreed? And text is supporting it. For example, see, remember on the registration page it says registration. If I don't write a registration word there, what it is for? Agreed? You understood, right? The system should support itself. Very good question. Okay. The principles of testing. There is a principle in testing. First principle of testing. Can anyone tell me? What do you think when you want to start testing? It's a process. Testing is a process. Process has principles, guidelines, procedures and everything. What is the first thing you need to keep in mind? What is the first thing you need to keep in mind? The end goal. Okay, the end goal is there. Is it testable? Madhubala, I think you are talking about smoke testing, but I am not asking what is the first phase of testing or first thing you need to test or something. What is the first thing you need to have in mind to, throughout this process? You can't test everything. I agree, that is there. It means that is not a principle. That is what you need to do. I'm asking like a principle where you need to follow. See, when I'm doing some work, for example, let's say I need to finish this class by 8:30. That is the principle I'm following. I can means what I teach is about the process functionality, but the principle I need to follow is like I need to teach this much subject today, and I need to finish it by 8:30. That is the goal. Means these are the guidelines I was given. Right, I can't go on. If, for example, if I want to teach something, I can't go on until 12 o'clock. Right? Will you be sitting here? No, simple. That is the principle. That has nothing to do with what I do. Similarly, yeah. So that you think whatever is being tested in the scope or not. Yes, that is one thing. But remember, you can't test everything. That is the key. First thing, you have to remember all this throughout your testing career. You can't test everything. For example, simple. If I give you a bottle of water and I ask you to test, how many test cases you can come up with? Is there an end count? Is there an end count? You will test it on a sunny day, you will test it on a wintry, rainy day, you will test it on, you can come up with endless combinations and permutations of test cases. I will test it at morning 9 o'clock, I will test it at, you can come up with endless permutations and combinations. So there is no end for testing. Testing is an exhaustive thing. So don't think that you can test everything. So there is no end for testing. So remember, you can't test everything. So remember that. So first thing. So we don't need testers who can test for long hours. We need testers who can test smartly. Testing is a smart thing, not a exhaustive laborious work. Agreed? Yeah. So you need to make it smart. That is why we are here. Agreed? So the principles. Remember, for example, let's say we made a software. Think like, I told an idea that, what is the idea I told in the last class? For iPhone app, yeah. Every time if you don't go for workout for 1 hour, we will take $1 from you, right? So we create an app and you open the app and you need to give your credit card information on the day one when you install the app. And every day you need to open that app for 1 hour while you are working out. If you are not doing that, you will take $1 from your credit card, right? It's a motivation, or it's ripping money, whatever it is. So we will do that app. The first thing is, so we give this app. For example, let's say we made this app for $5,000. We invested $5,000 and we created this app. For example, now I will give it to the tester. Now I will give it to the tester. The tester will say that I will take 2.5 months to test it. Means, see, testing is a really at the last, means it comes generally at the end of the life cycle. It is a end task of the life cycle. And generally, if I want to make profit on that product, I need to deliver it fast. If you are taking more time, we are investing in you. We are spending money on you. Agreed? For every hour is chargeable. So we are investing money on the product. If the testing is a long process, if you go and keep, for example, you will say that I will take it one year to test the app. Means, what is the use of that app then? Agreed? If you are taking 1 year to test that app, means there is no point in selling that app because I already invested, so I can't recover that money. So there should be always the return of investment on a product. Testing is a phase where the phase is driven by economics. Means you cannot test forever. You need to end your testing where the returns are minimizing. You need to make a return of investment on that product. If you are not doing that, there is no use of that product. How much you test? So you can't test everything. You can't test forever. The second thing, you can't test everything, you can't test forever. So you need to remember, you need to test fast so that you bring returns to the product. Agree? So that is it. For example, let's go into code. Does anyone know what is a loop in program? What is a loop in program? One task repeatedly. Repetition is done by loops. Anyone online? Does anyone know what is a loop in program? Yeah, recurring. Okay. Iterating. Recursion is different. Iteration is different. Okay. Let's not go into that right now. Yeah. Anyone else who knows what is a loop? Yes, iterative process. Very good. Okay. A loop means, for example, does the same thing again and again. Perfect. Okay. All right. Okay. So I don't know if someone doesn't want. If you know what is a loop, you need to tell me because it will give me an idea. Okay. All right. So that is the reason when I ask something, please tell me. Okay. All right. Okay. So for example, let's say I want to print 1 to 10. I can write a loop. So for example, I want to print 1 to 10. Let's say. Or otherwise, let's say I want to loop through 1 to 12 and 1 to 31, like that. You understood, right? For every month, I will have 30 days. I will loop through 12 times. Inside, I will loop through 30 times for every time. You understood, right? So there are 12 months. I will write a loop for 12 times. And inside I will loop for 30 times for every loop on the top. So I get 12 into 30 like that. Understood, right? So for example, if I give you this program, how many combinations are there? If you want to really test every combination out there, there are like more than 10 to 14, 10 power something. If you really have to test every combination out of this, it will take this many years to test. Testing is not pursuing every combination. Agree? So the idea which we are giving from this slide is testing is not combination. It's not about the permutation and combination. Agree? Yes. Okay. Yeah. And there is another thing. Testers should pursue defects, not people. So generally when you test something, what will you get? When you test something, what will you get? Okay, to get a good product, for example, think like we made white box QA. You are testing it. You are testing it. Do you, for example, then what is it? You write test cases and you execute them. So when you write test cases, you will tell that logo should be here, and logo is missing. Once you go there, logo is missing. What is that called then? It's a bug. It's a defect. So what do you discover from testing? Bugs. You get bugs. Otherwise, you validate a requirement. Either you verify, means you validate something, means verify means verifying the task there. That is not the verifying the requirement there. Okay. So you just say it passed, or otherwise you will find a bug. So whatever we discover are nothing but bugs. Everyone hates bugs. Okay. And developer hates bugs a lot. So you are not pursuing people. Even though developer wrote the code, that mistake is not done by developer. That is a bug in the system, not done by the developer. Am I clear here? You should not pursue people. You are pursuing system defects. Am I clear? The relationship should be very good here. Okay? So that is what I am telling. You should never assume that there are no bugs in the system. For example, you don't want to do testing. You will go to work and you will say that, yeah, everything is passed. You just want to escape work. Let's say, everything is good. I verified everything is there. If you do that, there is no module, there is no program, there won't be a page without a bug. So don't put yourself at risk. Don't assume that this is working. Okay. So, and another thing is you need to testing. See, programs are, any program take inputs and give outputs. Agreed? For example, if I go to Whitebox QA and log in, it is taking my login information as input and it is giving output whatever the main page or something. So generally inputs can be two types: valid inputs or garbage or whatever it is, invalid or okay, or invalid or something. Okay. When you give valid input, you should get valid output. When you give invalid or garbage, should you get garbage outside? No, you should still get a nice output. You understood, right? If I go and put, for example, let's say if I go to Whitebox QA, whiteboxqa.com, and if I go and say here I'll put some garbage here, it should still say me your login is in. It cannot show me some program or something like that. Understood, right? Garbage in, no garbage out. Am I clear? So it's a system which take inputs and outputs. What is the exact terminology should be used by tester, developer in various situations? Okay, we'll come through that. You need to give me a situation what you are talking about. How can I tell for a complete day-to-day life? You need to tell me a particular situation, I will tell you that. Okay? Alright, come. So Satya is asking some real world question. That is very good. Yeah. So coming back, so inputs, outputs. If you give a valid input, you should get a valid output. If you give a invalid or garbage, you should still get some good thing out. I am not asking for an answer, but I am not asking for garbage too. Am I clear here? So that is the, so it should guide, a system should guide. Yeah, Satya, I will explain that. Actually about bugs, definitely will come. So here, Satya is asking me what is the exact terminology should be used by tester and developer in various situations. Generally, you will be talking about bug. Bug will have a bug ID, or it's about a use case or requirement. Agree? Priority. So these are the things generally which come in the talk. And generally priority or severity, it's like, people will talk in this language, like, is it a showstopper? Is it a cosmetic bug? Like that. These are some of the jargons there. But other than that, everything else is whatever you learn. Okay. Okay. So coming back. Yeah. So first thing is you can't test everything. Okay. You cannot test everything. Okay. All right. Testing should end before returns cease. And another thing is, do not assume there is no bug. Do not assume there is no bug. Do not pursue people. Agreed? Yeah. Test for valid and invalid. Valid and invalid. Agreed? And the next thing is, if you find 10 bugs on one program and you find 20 bugs on another program, where are more bugs? Where do you find more bugs? For example, you already found 10 bugs from one program. You found 20 bugs from another program. Where do you expect more bugs? In program A or program B? Means 10 bugs program. No, 20 bugs program will have more bugs. A program with more bugs will have real more bugs again. Okay. So bugs, the number of bugs to be found will be proportional to the bugs already found. Agree? Yeah. Okay. So the number of bugs already found, to be found will be always proportional to the bugs already found. Agree? So remember that. It might be conflicting to what we think, but it is true. Yeah, and testing is a creative process. It's your intuition, you need to expect, you need to think, you need to have that knack of mind to break things. So when you have been doing testing for a while, you yourself observe something that can be taught, that comes with experience, that you are ready to break other things too. Means not breaking, means finding bugs. Agree? So that is a creative job. You need to experience it.
So these are the main, and then do not testing should end before return
Cease. Means that is something, a principle. It's not that you will have this guideline on paper or something. It's like a principle. See, testing should end. For example, when your QA manager is planning your testing phase, planning for this, he will make a schedule such a way that it will end soon, and it will bring, people will give you, like, project manager for this project will give you that, you have 1 month to test everything, and QA manager will take that 1 month. How is this 1 month decided? Because we are investing this much money on this project. That's all we have.
So
yeah.
Basically, should end before the due date? Is that?
No. Generally, when you are planning, so this is not about tester. When someone is planning for testing, they plan in such a way that they limit this budget or something in such a way that, it doesn't go over. Means generally, if you are making a product, you don't want to spend more on the product than you get on the product. Am I right? So planning will be dependent on that. So your test planning is also based on that. That is only a guideline. Agreed? Swati is asking me, does number of bugs to be found is proportional to the program size? I am not asking about the size here. I compared two programs with the same size. But already we found 10 bugs. So it's not about the size. Then we are only talking about the number of bugs. Okay? Yeah. Alright. So we will come to a definition of test case. Can anyone define me what is a test case? Say it again. Steps to do testing. Very good. You're telling that steps to do testing. Anything else? What needs to be tested is in the steps only. You're telling that go to this one, do this one. For example, think like I need to test bottle of water. Take the bottle, throw it against the wall. It didn't break. Check, it didn't break. Very good. Test case passed. Okay. So means there is a test case. So you are telling that take a bottle, throw it against the wall, and go and take it back and check it is not broken. Means there are steps. So you are telling what to do. Anything else? Say it again. Inputs. Yes, very good. So take a bottle of water is an input, right? No? So inputs. Next, anything else? Steps are written in order. When you have steps means there will be 1, 2, 3. So they are already in order. Steps means order only. Agreed? Next. Expected result. That is the key. Actual result won't come in the test case. Actual result will come later. So the thing is expected. See, I throw the bottle against the wall. What I should do after that? I should go and check it that it is not broken. So that is the expected result. So if any one of this is missing, it is not a test case. Agreed? So what is a test case? Test case is nothing but set of inputs with execution conditions with expected result. If I take this and if I do these steps, I will get this. That is a test case. Did I do it? Did I do it when I am writing the test case? No, you are telling everyone should do this to test this. Agreed? So a test case is nothing but set of inputs, execution conditions, and expected result. Agreed? So all three should be there. So set of inputs, execution conditions, and expected result, all three should be there. So then only you are writing a good test case. Agreed? So for example, I will give you a user story. Like the user story is like, let's say opening the notepad. When you open the notepad, it will open a notepad. It will open a notepad where you can type. That is a user story. Agree? That is a user story. Now, how many test cases can you come up with? About notepad, just simple notepad, just a simple notepad functionality. This is the notepad. Come up with test cases. Means yes, I'm already talking about that. I'm not talking about installation test cases or anything. Functional test cases. Give me some functional. If I go and click on the notepad icon, okay, or if I go and click on the notepad icon, agreed, and it will open the editor and I should see cursor blinking there. That is the expected result. Okay, you can go to the desktop and click on the notepad icon, and again it should open notepad and the cursor should be blinking there. You can right click on the desktop, and go and say new notepad text document or something and open that. It should still open a notepad document which should be blinking there. So same, just for opening notepad there are 3 ways to do that. So how many test cases do I need? How many test cases do I need to test the opening of notepad? 3. So every scenario, every case, everything you can think of it will be a test case. Agreed? There will be many test cases. A test case is not testing a scenario. A test case is not testing a user story. Many test cases will come and make a test of, you will test a user story, or you will test a requirement, or you will test a use case. Agreed? So these are the 3 test cases. There can be more. You can go to run, and you will say notepad.exe, and if you open it will open. How many ways are there? Just to open the notepad only there are many cases. There are many ways to do it, so there are many cases. And for example, already there is a document opened. I will go and say file new, it will open another one. Understood, right? So the same functionality, I have many test cases. For example, so okay, I got many test cases here. Now typing a line in notepad. Let's say after notepad, typing a line. That is the scenario we want to test. You can write a line with 1 alphabet and enter. It goes to next line. Or you can write a line with 1,000 lines. One test case. You will write a line with 10 words with spaces and everything. You will write a line with tab in it. Agree? You will write a line not in English, not in ANSI encoding. You will use UTF or some other encoding. Agree? Agree? You will not write anything on that line and you will enter. Agree? So how many test cases are there to test a line? You understood, right? You understood. You should see the possible scenarios of these things. So test case, again, every test case is what? Set of inputs, execution conditions and expected result. So for example, if I don't write on anything on the line, it should go to the next line. The cursor should be on the second line. If I type something and enter here, the cursor should be on the second line. That is the expected result. And for example, let's say if I go and change this encoding or anything, actually I don't know if I can do that right here. Okay, we can talk about font and other things too. Okay, let's not go that detail. So there will be many test cases. So your duty is to write possible test cases on, for example, if we give you a BRD and we say that you are owner of this requirement, owner of this user story, owner of this set of requirements. You are the person who is responsible for writing all the test cases possible in those requirements, from that user stories, from that use cases, from that BRD or anything, from the diagrams or anything, and you have to write test cases and you have to execute them also. Okay? So how many test cases are there? So if I ask you for, like let's say for this testing a line on a notepad, is there any can you tell how many test cases will come? I don't know now. Again, I don't know now. But can you really come up with every possible test case? Do you think so? No, you can't. You can't do. So testing, you can't do everything. Understood, right? You can't test everything. You don't know. But if I give you to one person, they will write 10 test cases. If I give it to write one person, there are 20 test cases. So there is no common ground in testing. Agree? So how will I know you are a good tester or not? So should I hire who writes 20 test cases, not who writes 10 test cases? It's not like that. So there should be. It's not about number of test cases. It's more about number of scenarios you are covering. Okay. So how do you know that I wrote good enough of test cases? No one can say that I covered all of them. But how do you know that I wrote enough test cases to satisfy myself or the other people that I tested this application well? There are no rules like that. There are some guidelines. Those are called techniques. Those are called some techniques to guide you to make test cases, but no one will tell you these are the test cases exactly. Am I clear? Okay. Alright. Coming back. So what is a good test case? Can anyone tell me what is a good test case mean? So you know what is a test case? You know you have to come up with many test cases to test something. What is a good test case? For example, if you see, like let's say there is a requirement. For example, you can write line of 100,000 words. You can write a line for 10 words. You can write a line without a word. You can write in any language too. Agreed? You can there is a requirement. A good test case is something which has more coverage. What is more coverage means? The more scenarios it is trying to capture is a good test case. Understood, right? A good test case is something it is covering the requirements, giving idea and having a good matrix. Wow, very good. Okay. Satya, it is becoming a very good practice session for you. I'm very glad about it. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, coming back. Yeah. So, a good test case is something which has more coverage. It is trying to cover something. It is trying to cover and it will take care of that scenario. You don't have to write more or anything. Okay. A good test case is something which is really covering this type of scenario or this part of the scenario. Am I clear? Agree? For example, I will tell you one thing. On white box QA, I want you to test login. I don't have to test it with my login, your login and 10 email address. If I test it with one login, one good login, I am fine, it will work for other login also. Agree? Unless it is different in something. How it is different? It's not different. Don't tell me that my login address is, mine is yahoo.com, yours is gmail.com. Don't tell me that. Understood how it is different? Maybe you have, for example, I have dot, you have underscore. Yeah, maybe that is a good test case. Understood, right? Because we don't know. Let's say you have, other thing is you have 100 characters. I might have 10 characters. So that is a different test case. A test case changes, doesn't change because inputs changed. You don't have to write a test case for every inputs possible. It's not about inputs possible. It's about trying to find a different case, different flow. Okay? Different flow of that system. For example, if you are testing, let's say if you are testing credit card thing. If I tested with one Visa card, valid card and everything, I don't have to test with another Visa card. I will test with American Express because it has 1 digit less, right? It has 1 digit less. So that is the reason, I have to test for American Express. I don't have to test for another Visa card. Am I clear? So don't try to make test cases just by changing inputs. If it is not proving something else which was not proved by the other test case. It needs to prove me something else, not the same thing as what it was proved before. Understood, right? That can't be shown in test case. That is, when you are, see, for example, I will write, let's say my name and I will enter. Okay? I will not write anything and I will enter. That is a different test case. I will write 100 A's and I will enter. What this is proving? This is proving a normal scenario that if you enter a couple of letters and enter, it will go to the next line. What is this proving? If you don't enter anything and if you still enter, it will go to the next line. What is this proving? If you are entering max number of words on a line and if you still enter, it will go to the next line. Each one is proving a different thing. Got it? You don't have to say that, okay, for example, let's say Sampath and let's say Manju and alright? Okay, alright. Okay, alright. We are not proving here anything, just writing names. You understood, right? Because that was already proven in the first one only. By doing more number of these, you are not proving anything. You need to try to prove something else. So, test cases, writing test cases is not an easy task. You understood right now? Coming up with the test cases is not an easy task. Writing them is easy. Once you come up with it, you can write it. But coming up with the test cases is a creative job. And coming up with a good test cases so that you might, if you are coming up with 100 test cases, who will pay? You only who is going to do it. And if you are not trying to, if someone found a bug even after proving these 100 test cases, you missed some scenario. So it's not about number of test cases, it's the coverage of the test cases. Am I clear? If you wrote 1000 test cases, then still someone came and found something else. What does that mean? You are not coming up with good test cases. So coming up with good test cases is a good tester job. Forget about automation and everything. That is later. If you are not coming up with good test cases, you need to work on it before moving forward. How did I save my work? Yeah. Alright. So for those there are techniques too. Okay. Alright. Coming back. Yeah. So now our duty is to write test cases. Agree? For example, let's say I will give you login scenario. I will give you registration scenario. Okay. I will give you account, let's say for Bank of America transfer scenario. Okay. Let's say I will give you a bottle of water and bottle of water scenario. You will come up with 10 test cases for bottle of water. You will come up with 10 test cases for login. You want to make them, they're different, right? The test cases for that one. So generally people will create test suites. It's a name. It's a name. Suite is nothing but you are not going and putting them in a box or something. It's a name. Suite is nothing but collection. Collection of what? Test cases. Test suite is nothing but collection of test cases. Agreed? Related test cases. Agreed? Okay. So you will make suites. Generally, now, yeah, let's go and do something. I will give you whiteboxqa.com. Think like we developed, we designed, we developed. Now it's testing phase. You go and do testing phase. In testing phase, what is the first thing you will do? What is the first thing you will do in test cases? Say it again. Test cases, writing test cases. Okay, you wrote test cases. Then what will you do? You wrote test cases. Yeah, I want you to test bottle of water. What is the first thing you will do? You'll go and write test cases. After that, what will you do? You will execute them. Okay, writing test cases and executing them. Please don't forget it. Okay, I don't want to repeat it again and again. Alright, because this is something very basic and everyone should know it. Okay? So writing test cases and executing them. So when you are executing, you are doing a test case. Agree? So for example, you threw the bottle onto the wall. It broke. What happened? Test case failed. So if something fails, something will come out. Something is born. What is born now? A bug is born. If test case fails, what will come out? What is the result? Bug. So a bug will come out. Agree? So this bug is there. So if this bug is there, it is bugging everyone. So what we need to do about it? Report it to developer. And what should developer do with it? He will fix it. Okay, developer will say that he will fix it. First of all, so you said that you will report the bug or file the bug, whatever it is. Okay, you reported the bug. Once you reported the bug will be taken by developer, and developer won't go and directly fix it. He needs to find the cause for the bug. Agree? There is nothing like bug sitting there, right? We need to remove it. We need to go and find the cause for it. Agree? So that is process is called debugging. So developer will go and do what? Debug. And he will find the cause for the bug. Then once he finds the cause for the bug, what he will do? He will fix it. Once he fix it, what will you do? You will test it again. You will execute. So will you write the test case again? No, you will just execute the test again. You will execute the test again. So this is fixed now. What will you do? Just verify it. Got it? Or verify. You know, you'll say that I verified this. So that test case is done. So do you need to go back and test it again? No. So that is fixed. Agreed? So you validated the bottle brittleness using the test case. So what was the use of the test case? You found the brittle, you measured the brittleness or something. Now you go and take another test case. You go and take this bottle and you put it in the refrigerator. And the morning you woke up, it melted. So what will you do? Again, another bug. You will create another bug and you will report the bug and they will fix it, and again you will do the test case and everything. So testing is a repetitive task. Okay. So testing is a repetitive task. Okay. All right. So now coming back, you are writing test cases. Okay. When you are writing the test cases, how do you know that I should come up with this test case? How do you know that this should be the inputs? How do you know that this should be the steps? How do you know that this is the expected result? From where did you get them? User stories, BRDs. Test plan will not contain those. Remember, test plan only tells the planning for testing. Agreed? So test plan will only tell the requirements, use cases. Very good. So BRD and everything. Agreed? So SRS, whatever it is. Anything else? I understood. Yes. User story is a use case. So BRD and everything. That's it. Your knowledge, basic knowledge. Agreed? So you don't really need to write a BRD, some basic things, basic knowledge. Domain knowledge. Agreed? Okay. And the look and feel, generally you can test it by your own intuition. You don't need anything, right? And what else? Sometimes design documents. Agreed? Sometimes reading code. looking at old bugs, you'll get some test cases. Okay. Yeah, BID is already written. Okay. All right. So looking at old bugs and customer support, like looking at fake, some other like complaints or support systems. You'll get some, support system. Okay. Feedback. Yes, feedback. Yes, very good. That is part of this one. And not only that, business rules, government rules. For example, every website should be accessible. What do you mean by accessibility? Even a blind person should be able to read a website if really displayed on their devices. Means it should be accessible too. If you some companies build inaccessible, means if you are a financial company or something, you need to be accessible for everyone, for impaired people also. So those kind of rules will come into picture. For example, if you are a bank institute or anything, you need to do auditing for every transaction which is happening. Okay? You need to maintain audit logs for them. So these are some of the business rules, and general government rules will also make those things. So these are the things. So this is called a test basis. This is the basis to make our test cases. Okay? All right. Very good. Yeah. And what is execution mean? What is execution mean? We running the test, doing the test is called test execution. So testing is not test execution. Test execution is a small minor part of testing. It's not the only part of testing. Am I clear? Okay. Alright. Then there is something called test bed. Test bed means take a bottle of water and throw it against the wall. So you need a wall. What are the conditions for this? You need a wall, you need a bottle of water. You need a strong wall. That is a bed. What is the environment you are doing? Agree? So what is the environment you need? So that is nothing but bed where you are doing the testing. For example, if I give you white box QA for testing, will I give the white box QA which everyone is using for testing? No, I will create a separate small site for testing purpose, and I will say qa.whiteboxqa.com, and I will give this site for you for testing. So what is your test bed? qa.whiteboxqa.com is your test bed. Very good. Okay. These are all definitions. Okay. All right. No, it is in used word. It's a definition. It's made a definition. I didn't come up with it. But these are some age-old definitions. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Coming back. Yeah. Coming back. What is the objective of testing? Test something in less time with more coverage. Cover more in less time. Generally, that is the goal for everyone. Cover more in less time. Okay, that is contradicting. No, that is your goal. You need to pursue that. Okay. So if you see here, this is the test life cycle we have seen. You write test cases, you execute them, you get results, you debug. You sometimes when you debug, developer will say that, oh, this might cause some other issues also. Agreed? That is additional test cases will come out of it. Okay. So if you identify cause, you'll fix it. You'll do the testing again. You'll do the testing again. It will come back again like this. Okay. This is test cycle. What is this called? Test cycle. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So generally, if you see test cycle, you don't have to include plan or anything, but generally you have objectives what you are going to test. You write your test cases. You write your test cases, and you test them. You get results. You write your test cases. Generally, there is something called testing the test cases. What is this testing the test cases? Can anyone explain me? What does testing the test cases mean? If I write test cases, 10 test cases, you might check that, this test case is already here, written here. Why am I writing duplicate? I will remove this. You should go and check once, right? That I wrote, okay, all my test cases are good or not. So that is testing your test cases. Okay? Checking that, you wrote, good test cases and none of them are contradicting each other. None of them, everything is mutually exclusive, like that. Okay? Yes, can they be executable? Yes, these kind of things are also will be there. So you are testing the test cases and you will execute them. Okay? Right? So, but generally you can come like, this is test life cycle. All right. So the next thing is called phases of testing. Yeah. So now coming back, tell me the phases of SDLC. Say it again. Requirements analysis, design, development, testing, maintenance and support. Actually build or something, yeah, it's up to you. Okay. Alright. So these are the things of the SDLC. In the requirements, generally, what do you have? So generally, even before requirements, if you see here, let's forget about this one. Let's forget about this one. Okay. You have some vague models, right? Vague models. Got it? So generally, if I am the one who wants to make white box QA, we vision it. Okay, there should be a login. There should be like, like let's say different kinds of access, 1 week access, permanent access like this, and there should be, let's say there should be, recording section in there. There should be notes there. There should be, people should submit their note, These are the criteria. These are the criteria which makes a portal, training portal. Am I clear? So the criteria which makes the client happy. If you give me this, I'm happy. Agreed? Which makes the client happy. Then what are requirements? The detailed means you write each and everything, you cover each and every scenario, you cover each and every screen, and you write a detailed requirements like BRDs, means BRD use cases and other thing, right? Agreed? So you write your requirements. Then you design. Design means database models. How is the database, how is the classes and everything, agree, classes and everything. Okay, you design, like for example, I will say there will be 2 programs in this. One will be service, one will be provider, software oriented architecture. I will do software oriented architecture here, or I will do SaaS plus SOA here, just like that. So that is the architecture I am designing, and I will come and write here what code. Agreed? So now let's start testing. Testing, you can start in the code only. You can do testing on code itself. If there is a code, you can test that code. Forget about what it does or what it shows up in the UI. Right? If there is a code, you can test that code. Agreed? So what is the testing called? White box testing. That is, in other words, developer words, it's called unit testing. Means, what is a unit? Small component of what? Of the code. What is that called? I want anyone to say it. What is a unit in programming? Very good. What is a unit in programming? Any other word? Yeah, Dipti, tell me.
I can't hear properly, some disturbance is coming.
Alright, no problem. So is there any disturbance for others other than Dipti? No. Okay, Dipti, I will mute you now. I will repeat this again. If it comes again, please type there, okay? Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so a small unit means a piece where small logic is written. That is called method, a procedure, a function. Method, a procedure, a function, a subroutine. These are the names for it. Agree? For example, if you want to add two numbers, there is a function to add two numbers in the program. Agree? Agree? What it is doing? If you give A and B, it is adding A and B and it is giving you the sum. Can everyone read this? At least you know what is happening there? You know, right, what is happening there? There is a add function. If you give int A, int B, it is going and adding and giving it out. Output will be what? If I give 1 and 2, what will be the output? If I give you -1, -2, what is the output? -3. Agree? So that is the output, right? So it is sum of A and B. How do you test this? By passing 1 and 2. Yeah, I will get what? 3. If I give 3 and 4, I will get what? 7. But I don't need to do again this kind of thing. 0 and 0, 0. Agreed? -1 and 1, 0. So this kind of cases. So I tested this. Do I need a UI4 to test this? But how do you call this program? So if you want to pass 1 and 2, how do you call this program? There is a program. I need to call this, how do you pass this 1 and 2 into that? You need to write another program. To call a program, you need to have another program. Agreed? So generally what you will write, let's say test program, and you will say that test program, and you will do like, let's say, you will say int k is equal to add of 1 and 2. What will be k now? I expect k is equal to what? Sum of what? What is A and B here? 1 and 2. So what do I expect in k? If k is 3, the test passed. If k is not 3, what is the test? Failed. That is unit testing. Understood, right? Did I write this program in unit testing? I wrote it here. So do I need to write this program to test it? No, not necessarily. Is this really a complex program? Or is this the complex program? That is the complex program. This is not the complex program. We are using it. We are not writing it. Am I clear here? We are not writing that program. We are doing it. If you do this, this is called white box testing, and this is unit testing. Next one. Yeah, there is a very good question here from by Manju. Isn't unit testing done by developers? Not 100% exactly, yes. Things are changing. I don't know where it will go. But generally, if it is unit testing, it is done by developers. But white box testers do that too. Okay? White box testers do that too. Nowadays, what is happening is, everything is integrated into one system. Unit testing, integration, regression, functional, everything is running into one thing. Remember, we learned continuous integration in XP. Everything should integrate at the end of the day. That will do all the testing at once. So, generally, let's say, let me put it in this way. In last 3 years, only 5 of my students became white box testers. They are pure JUnit. They don't even look at the UI2. Okay? So this is unit testing. 90% of the time developer will do it. Otherwise, white box tester will do it. But you don't have to do it. Sometimes people will ask you, tell me what are the unit test cases failed. You need to run them maybe. You don't need to write it, but you need to run them. See, remember, for the bottle thing, you wrote a test case. If you write the test case, is there any guarantee that you should execute it? If I give the test cases to someone else, they can also execute it. All they need to do is they read and throw the bottle and they will get the test case. Am I right? Agree? So similarly, if I write the unit testing, test cases, can't you run them? We can run and you can tell me where it failed. Okay, just keep that in mind. Okay, alright. So this is unit testing. What is this called? Unit testing. So see here. So our testing generally development of the product comes like this: modeling, requirements, design. You start your unit testing here. Agreed? And then, for example, think like developer made two modules. One is provider, one is service. Remember, he built it according to what? Service oriented architecture. He built a provider, he built a service. So now, generally, for example, we have a calculator. So think like we have a calculator. So developer built this program calculator. We did the unit testing, finished it, we passed it. Now when you call this calculator, let's say I am using 1 plus 2 is equal to. This program is going and talking to another program on my system. Think like, let's go and say, actually, don't delete this folder on Windows. Try once, delete it and check it. Means that is the core Windows folder. Okay. Yeah. So if you see, there is calculator program. Do you see this calculator program? But there is something else in the calculator program too. Okay. There are two things. I opened this guy. I opened this guy. This guy came up. But when I do 1 plus 2, this guy is going and talking to this guy. This guy is giving the result back to this guy, and this guy is giving the result. Am I clear? Just think like that. Actually, it is not happening exactly. You understood, right? What is it? So this is the consumer, that is the provider. There are two programs. So now you are not a developer. You want to do integration testing, whether two are working together or not. So what you will do? You will do integration testing. What is the testing called? Integration testing. Testing the integration of the modules. Agree? Testing the integration of modules. And the next thing is, you tested the integration and everything, but finally what is this system about? Functionality, requirements, validation. So I need to test my requirements, black box testing. I need to do validate all the requirements and everything. So here requirements are there. So what I am doing my functional testing, or actually I will say system testing. System testing. What does system testing contain? Functional and non-functional of the system. Am I clear? Non-functional. Okay. Once everything is done, for example, you signed it that it is tested, I did unit testing, my developers did unit testing, myself and the developers worked on integration testing. Now we did functional, we did system testing like black box testing, like functionality, performance and everything. And you want to give it to the client. Do you think client will believe you? You will just, oh yeah, you tested, I will take it. For example, if I am the client, remember what makes me happy? I want to check, okay, whether you build login, whether you build assignments, whether you build. So I will do my acceptance testing. Means I wanted something to accept this. I have a criteria to accept this testing. If that criteria is met or not, who will do the testing? Client, or someone who is representing client. So that is called acceptance testing. So what are the phases of testing? Unit testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing. If you see here, the phases of the software are falling like this. The phases of the testing are moving like this. What does this symbol represent? What is this model called? V model. This is a age-old model. If this is not falling like this, will this go like this? What is the model we are in right now? What is the life cycle model people are using right now? Agile. Is there V, B or anything there? Nothing is there. Okay, just want to tell you something. Okay. So if it is waterfall, it will fall like that. If it is not waterfall, it won't. It is not valid. But still, unit testing is unit testing. Integration testing is integration testing. System testing is system testing. Yeah. So it is V-shaped. If it is waterfall, agreed? It is not V-shaped. If it is not waterfall, it is zigzag. Just kidding, because every day something is going on in Agile. Every day someone will design, every day someone will test something. If it's something, at the end of the day, all are running at once. Remember continuous integration? At the end of the day, everything is running in one circle. You never know what shape is that. Okay. So, what are the phases of testing? Unit testing. Come from low level. Unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. Generally, who does this? Developer. Who does this? Integration testing. Or developer. Integration, you can't tell it. You can't tell it because it might be code to code integration. Okay, if you don't know correctly only, we will do it. This is generally API testing and everything will come here. And who does this system testing? This system testing is black box testing. You test it on the box, right? Actually requirement, code is closed. That is why it is called black. But generally what it means is you're doing the testing based on the requirements, validation based on the requirements. Okay, so that is why it is system testing. And who will do this acceptance testing? Client or anyone who is representing client. Who is the person who is representing client in our place? Who is the person who is thinking, who is chatting with business and who is chatting with the client and making requirements? Who is talking to client daily, and who is the one who is communicating with the client? Am I the one who is communicating with the client? Business analyst, product manager, so they will do the testing. Okay. So who accepts the product will do the acceptance testing. Agreed? Alright. So now you know. Now let's come back again. So we know V model, we know phases. We know the documents too. We know the phases. Let's go each one by one. Like Yeah. So the first thing is called unit testing. Okay. In unit testing, generally there is a program. What does program contain? Tell me anything Tell me anything you know about a program. What does a program contain? You said something? No. What is program made up of? Generally, when you see a program, what are the things it contains? For example, if you see a test plan, it will contain scope, schedule, and thing. What do you see? How is logic made? I know there is logic in it. How do people make logic? Functions and procedure. What does a function contain inside it? Inputs. Very good. Inputs, variables. So variables. Very good. Keep it coming. Mamta, speak up. I know logic is there. How is logic? Conditions. Very good. Conditions. Very good. Method. I'm asking inside method. Yeah, if else, like if else. Okay, anyone else? Please bring it. Loops. Arrays. Okay. Bring it more. Return values. I'm asking inside a function. We already came to function. Function is a unit. What it contains? Parameters, arguments. Very good. And syntax, expressions. Very good. Expressions. So unit testing is testing all of them. Yes, you got actually all of them. You got conditions, you got expressions, you got iterations, you got and libraries is all different. Set of functions make a library. Agreed? So that is API, more of integration. So you will test for data structures like arrays. You will test for boundary conditions. Agreed? Like the input parameters and everything. You test for paths, if else conditions. You will test for loops. Agreed? You will test for expressions. You will test for error handling. You didn't tell me that error handling also. So input, output and everything. So error handling also. Agreed? So that is what you will do in unit testing. Okay. So let's get out of unit testing. I know that most of you want to get out of it. Okay. So let's go out to what is the next phase in testing? Agreed? Integration testing. So we made two modules using units. We made two modules. There is module 1, there is module 2. Let's say module A, module B. This two needs to integrate to give us a solution. Am I right? This two needs to integrate to give us a solution. So we are not testing each individual module. We are testing the integrations of the module. Agree? We are testing the integration of these two modules. How are we testing the integration of these two modules? We need to pick some functions. We need to pick some things which will, this module will call that module will call this module. Understood, right? You need to know the dependencies first. How these modules are dependent on each other. Otherwise, how will you test the independent? How will you test a module? If, for example, if the class needs to happen, you need to come here, I need to come here. Agreed? If we both are not here, what is the use of this class? If one of you is not there, what is the use of it? We are not testing presentation, or we are not testing your listening skills. We are testing a classroom. Agreed? So if we need to test a classroom, what? You need to see, first I will teach whether you got it or not. I need to test that. How will I test whether you got it or not? Very good, by asking questions. Agreed? So I ask a question, I wait for your reply. So module A gives something to module B. Module B returns something. So I will check whether they are communicating well or not. This is called integration testing. For example, if there are 100 modules like that, 100 modules in my system. Agreed? 100 modules in my system. Okay. So now there are three ways to do integration testing. Okay. There are three ways to do integration testing. Let's see what are the three ways. For example, generally a module, for example, you can take the, let me go and see if there is a diagram based on this. Yeah. So for example, these many modules are there. Okay, these many modules are there to test for us. Okay, do you see these modules? For example, these two modules are making up this module. These two modules are making up this module. These two modules are integrating to make this module. You can start with this 4 and 5 and test 4 and 5 integration. You can do the testing here, you can do the testing here, you can do the testing here. If you start from low, it's called bottom up approach. Agree? Bottom up means you are starting from bottom and you are going up. If you start from top, you'll start testing this one, then you'll come start testing this one, then you'll come start testing this one. This is called top down. That is bottom up, this is top down. If you combine randomly and do the testing, that is called big bang. Right? If there are modules, if these two modules are making this one, if these two modules are making this one, and these two modules are making this one. If you test this one first and this one later, that is called top down. If you start from bottom, that is called bottom up. If you don't care and you mix something, you care, you test it like that, that is called big bang. So how many types of integration testings are there? So big bang, top down, bottom up. These are the ways to do integration testing. Am I right? Agree? These are the ways to do, three ways to do integration testing. But give me one example for big bang. Okay, let's say Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office is there. Inside Microsoft Office, printing functionality is there. I can print a Excel, I can print a PowerPoint, I can print a this one. I can combine all of them and I can print once. It's office functionality. If I am testing printing on whatever I want, it's big bang. If I start with Word printing, means PowerPoint printing, I am coming each one application and integrating and later doing that. Agree? Print is a functionality, or otherwise, let's say making PDF. You can make any office document a PDF. That is office functionality only now. Agree? So you can test it from individual ones, or you can come with a bigger one like office core module, or let's actually go and see something. Okay, I don't think I have office. Yeah, there is office 14. Let's see. there is something called, this app is, okay, it's not there. Let's go for Google Chrome or something. Yeah. In Google Chrome, there are so much of functionality here to make a PDF. You see this? To make launching Chrome, Chrome helper. You know, there are so many modules here. These are just high level modules. Means there might be so many modules inside too. For example, I want to launch, see, I can launch a plain Chrome. Plain Chrome means without any features in it, just the basic thing. When you launch the Chrome, inside this there is a PDF viewer inside this also. So this Chrome now has combination of this module, this module, this module. So I launched my Chrome with combination of modules. But did I pick which modules? No, I just randomly launched. Big bang. But if I start like launch a Chrome, then add PDF and test the PDF how Chrome is behaving with PDF. Then add something else. Bottom up. If I start with everything and start removing one by one module out of the Chrome and starting coming down, what is that? Top down. Got it? Yeah.
Then there is just combination of
Modules. Okay? Yeah. Integration is combination of modules. Now coming back, module. Module can be inter-system, intra-system. What is that? Outside the system is inter. That's what you're telling me. So why will we need to integrate with outside the system? If you want to talk to any outside system, it's outside. For example, now let's say Chrome, these are all built by Chrome. These are all built by Google Chrome only. This is the Chrome application, Google Chrome application. Now it wants to use the remote desktop functionality. This is a different system. If you see, Chrome has a remote desktop functionality. Now I can go and say I can connect to some other machines from here only. I can, connect to some other machine and this machine will open up in this browser only. I don't want to do that actually, but I will give a okay, just checking. 1 second. Did I connect to some other machine? Did I just connect to some other machine? Yes. So here what I am trying to show here is this is one application. This is one system. Systems are talking to each other. So a system is a module here. Before, these are modules inside the system. Am I right? These are modules inside the system which are talking to make a system. And now two systems are talking. That is called, now a single system is behaving like what? Module. These two systems can be from same company here, unfortunately. But you can talk from one system to another system. For example, like you can print a Word document with your printer. Two systems are communicating. Am I right? Bank of America can go on to Experian and get the credit report. Two systems are communicating. At that point only it can get you a credit score. Right? Agreed? So these two systems are communicating. So when two systems are communicating, that is called system integration testing. When only modules are integrating, when modules or components inside the system are integrating, that is called component integration testing. So there is system integration testing, there is component integration testing. Clear? Agreed? So system is a system by itself. Agreed? If you see here in GoToMeeting, there are many modules. Recording is a module. Presenting audio is a module. Video is a module. And chatting is a module. Agreed? Chatting is a module. And let's say raising hand is a module. Right? Raising hand and questioning is a module. And let's say, what else is there? These are some of the modules. This is each module. This is components are integrating. Agreed? Components are integrating. But system to system integration, what is system to system integration? If I record directly and put it onto YouTube, that is my recording means GoToMeeting is directly uploading things like live on this very second. If it is sending every second data to YouTube, that is system integration. Okay. So if it is going and talking to outsider to do some other thing, that is system integration. How do you know who is an outsider or insider? Where is he residing? Is it a system by itself? Okay. So you'll know from that. If you order from Walmart, you'll get UPS tracking number, right? System integrity. Two systems integrated to give you that. Agreed? So you'll know that. Yeah. Then later, our favorite system testing will come. So we have covered integration testing, we have covered unit testing. There is something called system testing. What is system testing? What is system testing? System testing is everything about the system. What is everything about the system? Tell me, what are the things you have? How many kinds of requirements are there? Functional, usable. Don't tell me everything in non-functional. Usability, reliability, performance, supportability, localization, compatibility, configuration, installation. Agree? So these are the types of testings you can do on the system. Is everything applicable to everything? Do we need to do localization on white box QA? Are we really selling it to some other country people or something like that? Even though if we are some other country person is using, do we need to present them in their own language? We are supporting English. We are supporting US English. Now we don't care after that. Agree? So for example, let's say, is usability important on white box QA? Usability is important, but we don't need great designs. We don't need to change like every month like Google, right? Do we need to come up with something new doodle every day? No, right? So we don't need that. Agreed? We don't need that much of usability. Agreed? So coming back, reliability. Should our system be reliable? Yes, because people are accessing it throughout the day. Agreed? We need it reliable. Is the performance really matter? But should it be like, for example, do I need to give you a response in millisecond, or can you wait for a second on white box QA? Wait second is fine. I don't care. I don't need it in millisecond. On Facebook, do you need it on millisecond or second? Millisecond would be good. Otherwise, Google will do it in milliseconds, right? Got it? So millisecond would be good there. Don't risk for second. Agree? Response time. So performance is very important there. Supportability. Do I need to put a FAQ and all this kind of stuff on white box QA? Maybe or may not be. That not important. Or otherwise, you'll give a call or something. On Facebook and other thing, it's important. You need to tell how to use that. Otherwise, how we will use the new functionality. Localization is not needed. Compatibility. Do we need compatibility on each browser? Yes, but if it is not working on Google Chrome, what will I tell? Go and use Firefox, please. Will I tell that I will support Google Chrome by next day morning? No, right? So, is compatibility very important for others? Yes. Similarly, configuration. Similarly, installation. If there is for Google Chrome, is installation important? Yeah, because the installation should be smooth. The installation is not smooth. Will people install it? No. Agree. So, some things matter for some people, some applications, some won't. Yeah, okay, Satyadevi is telling a usability testing. We need to change color. Okay, why don't you do that, Satyadevi? I'll give you the code. Use Dreamweaver and find the colors what you want. And test it too. You need a search button. No, that is a big functionality. Yeah. Okay, search is, there are two kinds of search. It's database search and it's generic search, like, searching the files and everything. That's not easy. Yeah. If it was easy, everyone would have done it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Coming back. System testing. What is the first thing in system? Which is not here. No. What is the first thing you care about system? Functionality. The functionality of the system. So functional testing is also part of the system testing. Of course, functional and system. People will say that functional testing and system testing. Okay. Some people will say that functionality is also part of system testing. System as itself. If you look at the system as an individual entity, it's system testing. If you see functionality of it as a different, it's functional testing and system testing. So functional testing is also there. Okay? Everyone we need to test functionality. Then later we need to treat some other aspects of the system. What are the other aspects of the system? The first one is called performance. So tell me, what is performance? How system is behaving. For example, I will ask you for this calculator. What is the performance testing here? Is that calculating correctly functional or performance? Functionality. Is it calculating? Is it adding? Is it subtracting or anything? That is functionality. I'm talking about functionality. Tell me the functionality of it. Fast enough means when, where? Describe me. When typing, it should be faster. So this is the you are telling that is one performance. Okay, next. And when I do some operation, it needs to give me this one. Open up, load the application, and response to my keys, and response to the calculations. Where is this calculator program sitting? Inside whose system? My system. It's in my system. So the RAM and the processor determines this. Agreed? So the RAM and the processor time determines this. Agreed? So generally, if it is sitting on my machine, how many people can use it at one time? One person can use this at one time. Okay, so one person can use this at one time, and this is dependent on my RAM and processor. Agree? So if I really have a bad RAM and bad processor, the performance is low. But it has anything to do with calculator? No. So it's not the performance of the calculator you are looking at. You are looking at something else. Am I right? So, but if I have good RAM and good processor, my developer wrote a bad program inside. It is taking slow. So you need to look like the memory leaks of the program. You see that? Memory leaks of the program. Great. And the memory, the program is, leaking memory or not. How much resource consumption is taken by the program. What is resource consumption? If this program is running, is it taking RAM and processor? If the program is running, is it running in RAM and processor? Where will I check that RAM and processor? How? Task manager, yes. So if I go to calculator program, how much CPU it is taking? Is it using my CPU? Let's do something now. And let's say, so now CPU will increase. See this? Oh, it didn't even increase. Okay. Now see increasing CPU 1%. Agreed? Agreed? Means it took 1% of my processor. Really, is it consuming more of my processor time? No. How much memory it is? 5K. Agreed? So is it really consuming more memory? No. Why should it? It's good. So generally for installed applications, you cannot do more than this. Agreed? So performance. Now coming back, very good Sujaya. Yeah. Sujaya, did you go through the recordings already or did you go through the classes already? Either one of them. Okay, so coming back, now there is white box QA. Where is that program running? Whose RAM? White box. So when you hit whiteboxqa.com, are you hitting my laptop? You go to some server, that is running on the server. Agreed? So now, am I the only one who can connect to the server now? No. You can also join and connect to me. 100 people can connect to Whitebox at a time. 100 people can play the same recording at one time. How many people are using that program? Right now. So let's say 100 people are using Whitebox QA. How many people are using that server program? 100. That is the load on the server. Do you see that? That is the load on the program. So every time you access something, the memory goes up on the server, the processor goes up on the server. If 1000 people are using it, it goes up more. So that is the load. If 100,000 people went on to white box scan, now what will happen? What will happen? It will crash. So that is load testing. You understood, right? You are testing how much load it will take. For example, right now, let's say, for example, how do you determine this? For example, we are targeting 200 people. We think that, our business is like, 200 people will watch the recording center. Do I need to test for 100,000? No. Unless I am crazy or something, I don't need to test it. Agree? So, load testing is testing for the load you are expecting on your system. So, what will be the load on Google then? Billions? No. At a time, it won't be billions. Right? They are not, millions. Yeah. Agree? How many billion people are there in this world? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, just make your notes right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. India and China have 1 billion each, but that does not mean every country has a billion. Okay. Yeah. So, agree. So, load testing is testing the load you are expecting. I know that now white box case supports 200 people at a time. But think like, let's say, more people are using white box QA, it's spreading rapidly or something like that. Okay. Right now, don't you think I should know where it breaks? Where the system crashes? For example, the system is crashing at 500. Or let's say the system is crashing at 300. So shouldn't I know this? So that I can prepare for next coming months? That is stress testing. Testing the point where it breaks. Finding out the point where it breaks. What is that? Stress testing. Very good. Then there is, for example, on a page, there is only one recording. On a page, there is only one recording. The page will open fast. On a page, there are 100 recordings. The page will take more time. Why? The volume of data on that logic is more. That is called volume testing. For example, you open your Gmail. You don't have any email in the inbox. It will open fast. You have 100,000 emails. It will open slow. Agreed? But it has nothing to do with the load on the server or anything. The amount of data it needs to process. Agreed? So that is volume testing. And combination of all these three is performance testing. That is a generic term. Okay. All right. So that's all for today. Yeah, 7 billion. Very good, Satya.